El futuro tiene nada más que la confrontación.
Hey, welcome to You Don't Even Like This Show. I'm your host, Adam Todd Brown. I used to host a podcast called Unpopular Opinion, and that podcast was this podcast. But then everyone else in the world decided they liked the name Unpopular Opinion a lot too, so we changed the name to You Don't Even Like This Show. Each week, me and a couple of guests selected from a pool of the absolute sharpest minds the LA entertainment scene has to offer use this here space to talk about whatever the hell we want. News, pop culture, politics, information, you name it, we talk about it. And sometimes my co-host Jeff May is here too. It's a blast. You're gonna love it. Hey everybody. Welcome to You Don't Even Like This Show, a podcast about news, tech, pop culture, politics, not as much as it used to be, but sometimes politics, guns, weapons, candy, whatever we want to talk about. I'm your host, Adam Todd Brown. Joining me as co-host, my favorite co-host of all, no co-host. But I do have a fantastic lineup of guests making their second appearance together, I do believe. Ethan Lawrence and Jen Scott are here. Yay!
Yeah,
We're a team now. We're an established broadcasting duo.
Yeah, we actually have a TikTok that we started together that's just like us doing sketches and stuff. So you guys should check that out.
I mean, they're awful because we're like 4,500 miles physically away from each other. So like the delay is horrendous.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to be involved in any of that. That's fine. Yeah.
You're the manager, right? You bring us together and then, then the magic
We'd be
happens.
nothing without you.
And I'll tell you what, when the TikTok starts to make some money, you'll be seeing at least 5% off the back end.
I'm the Epstein of this. I'm the Epstein. Brian Epstein.
To be clear.
Brian, the Beatles manager is who I'm talking about. Hey, that makes as smooth of a segue as we're going to get. We are talking this week about a thing that's kind of been in the news recently, which is entertainers who got awards for the wrong work. And I wanted to do this episode because I got a little social media heat, and this is what I get for giving a shit about the Grammys at all. But I just posted a thing that said Beyonce winning country album of the year is just kind of another example of how out of touch with what people actually listen to the Grammys really are. It's a fine album, but it's not by any stretch of the imagination the best country album of the year. And expecting someone to just be handed best country album because they made a country album, that's not how that works. But she also won album of the year. And here's the thing. It's not that Beyonce doesn't deserve album of the year, but for one, she deserved it a long time ago. The album, in my estimation, that should have won Beyonce album of the year was the self-titled album that came out in 2014. Not only is it the album that's got fucking Flawless, Drunk in Love, Partition, just banger after banger. It was the first album that someone just surprise released in the middle of the night, at least someone of her caliber, no promotion at all. That was the first time that happened. Because of that album, the music industry started releasing albums on Friday instead of Tuesday. They had been doing Tuesdays forever, and it was in large part because of that album. It changed music. That was her album of the year, or even Lemonade after that.
I was going to say, or Lemonade, because at least she did the visual album and it was like very, like people subscribed to HBO to watch that album. You couldn't hear it yet until you watched the visual album, right?
And I forgot that part. The self-titled album was a visual album also, first visual album. I was actually surprised when I found out Beyonce had never won album of the year. I was sure she would have gotten it for one of those two, or I Am Sasha Fierce, the album that had Single Ladies on it. I read an article. I'll find it and link to it in the show notes. It was a writer who is not white. It was a black writer. And their feeling about it was basically Beyonce winning album of the year for a country album, and this was the headline, proves Beyonce has always been too black for the Grammys, because it does kind of feel like, oh, you made a country album. Okay, well,
right.
Now you can have album of the year. And it's like, that's not the album she deserved it.
Right. Now that you did the white people thing.
Yeah. And like, that's why I'll link to that article, because this is three white people saying that
Hi, everyone. We're three white people.
Hi, we're here to steal from black people.
Yeah. So people were not happy when I posted that. And here's the thing. I understand why people were like, you being racist right now? Because it's just the times.
I don't. You're literally on Blue Sky.
Yeah, there's that part. Yeah.
We're all here. We all know why we're on Blue Sky.
Yeah. Is everyone on Blue
I don't
Sky?
really feel like the racists have gone to Blue Sky.
Oh, they'll show up, I'm sure.
I know, but they're still avidly on Twitter.
And there's Adam leading the charge,
Yeah.
bringing the racist onto Blue
Being
Sky.
the first racist on Blue Sky.
I understand that part. I get why people were a little on edge, but that wasn't really my point. It was just there were better country albums, for one thing.
There's just better Beyonce albums. I did not listen to Cowboy Carter. I'm so sorry.
I gave it a obligatory listen. But yeah, it's not my favorite Beyonce
That's
album.
kind of how I always feel about Beyonce, though, because I don't know. I don't care. I feel as though Beyonce is an amazing, talented artist, but it's just like when I like to ask people what their favorite diva is. And when people say Beyonce, they are going through crisis like every time. It is like going through crisis music, like straight up. And if I'm like, okay, I'm not putting on Beyonce.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In Single Ladies, which is a song that she released, fact fans, there's a noise that occurs partway through. It sort of comes in about halfway through the song and then continues for the rest of the song. It's sort of almost like a metallic drill bit.
Uh-huh.
That's sort of like, it's like, it's all I can hear whenever I listen to it. And it deeply upsets me.
Interesting.
Pause this pod, go listen to that and come back and you'll see what I mean. About halfway through, there's like a...
I wonder if I can drop it in without us getting drone striked by the Carter family. Probably
I think
not.
2.5 seconds. I think that's all you'll need.
Yeah. Jay-Z throws a stun grenade through my window.
I love that.
If it's under 7 seconds, isn't that fine? Isn't that the rule?
Yeah, I think so.
Also, is this not a transformative work?
Neither of you watch Grammys, right?
No.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time. And like back to Beyonce, Jen, what you said about her music, I know this could get me murdered on the internet, but I kind of feel like Lemonade was her last like really good album.
And even the back end of that album is whatever.
Yeah, I like the one before. I like the self-titled one way better.
I don't even think I've tried to listen to any of her other albums all the way through.
I feel like creatively she kind of peaked in like the 2014 to like 2018 era. And since then, I don't know.
Lemonade was psycho mode, and I don't know what else you can do from being in a place of that level of vulnerability that would be more authentic as an artist, period.
I mean, just in terms of like cultural footprint, like, you know, in terms of radio play in the UK, which is the thing that I know about, you'd be hard pressed to find a radio station playing anything from Beyonce post 2016.
Yeah.
With the exception of Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
Which obviously was huge. No denying that.
Yeah, I can't think of any huge Beyonce singles in recent years where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that Beyonce song. Like, I feel like Formation was a long time ago.
I swear down in the early days of the network, you had a fight cast or something about this. It was Beyonce versus Rihanna.
Oh, what a memory that brings back. It was Chris Black and Josh Denny. Josh Denny was arguing for Rihanna and Chris Black was arguing for Beyonce. And here's the thing. I also think over the past like 10 years or so, Rihanna kind of makes better music.
But she hasn't made anything in so fucking long.
Yeah, she needs to make another fucking album, please. But yeah, we had a fight cast. I don't remember who won. I hope Chris Black won, but
I've exhausted my my collective memory of old Unpops episodes at that point. I cannot remember who won. I just remember it happening.
yeah, the only thing I remember from that is Josh Denny said something like kind of negative about Beyonce, and Chris Black just goes, "Watch your fucking mouth, kid." So fucking
Intense.
That would have been in person as well. That would be an atmosphere in there.
Oh yeah, it would have been great if Chris Black just like beat his ass in that moment. Oh, it would have been fantastic. Rest in peace, Chris Black. You were great. So yeah, we don't have to beat up on the Cowboy Carter this whole time. Like I do, I like Beyonce. I've enjoyed a lot of her albums. I just think her like 2000s through like 2010s stuff is better. I saw Destiny's Child in concert. I've never seen Beyonce, but I saw Destiny's Child, and it was like a fucking military strike the way I did it. I drove to Sioux City, Iowa. I lived in Sioux Falls, South Dakota at the time, parked at a Walgreens parking lot, walked in as they were coming on stage, and just fucking watched the show and got right the fuck out of there before the last song was over.
Wow.
Nice.
In and out. But I've never seen Beyonce.
You've got to be in a very small percentage of people who have seen Destiny's Child, but not solo Beyonce.
Well, here's the thing. Not only have I seen Destiny's Child, I also saw NWA while Ice Cube was still in the group.
Whoa.
He fucking left NWA in 1989.
You are a fraction of a percent at this point.
I was 11 and my parents
What?
was NWA. It was great. All right. Let's talk about Denzel Washington.
Yes, let's, please.
He won an Oscar for Training Day. And no. What?
Illegal.
What? It's not a good movie for one thing. Like, it's kind of a silly fucking movie. His performance is way over the top. And I'm not an actor. I can't criticize his acting any further than that. But I will say, fucking Malcolm X should have won him an Oscar for Best Actor. I would say maybe even American Gangster, which came out not long before Training Day.
As your resident acting expert, hi, White House listeners, I'm actually a real professional actor. I agree. Training Day, he's goofy in that, and that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. But does Goofy win Oscars? Probably more than it should, ideally. But no, when I was reading through the notes, and I was like, yeah, no, Malcolm X, I can't argue with that. I don't see how you possibly could. It's a stellar performance in a career of stellar performances. He's very good, is young Denzel Washington.
As someone who has not seen either film, I just Googled them both. And Malcolm X, you can watch on Max with a subscription, and Training Day is free on Tubi.
Well, there you go.
So think about that.
Yep, that is settled science right there.
That is just fact.
Free on Tubi. Oh, what a way to go.
Yeah, this Denzel Washington winning for Training Day really felt like, oh yeah, you should have gotten one by now. We'll just fucking, what's your next movie that's coming out? And
Yeah,
But I mean,
same
how
general
often?
vibe as Beyonce.
yeah.
How often has that been the case?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about more examples. What bothers me about it also is like, it's not like Denzel Washington was dying. Like he's going to make more movies. I'm sure has made better shit since Training Day.
One would have to hope.
Yeah. Are we going to act like the Equalizer franchise didn't happen at all? Those are actually kind of good movies.
They're okay. I enjoyed them well enough. He shouldn't have won an Oscar for those either, just to be clear.
No. That would have been funny if he like three-peated, just 3 Oscars in a row for the Equalizer franchise. Fucking what?
4-time Oscar winner, Denzel Washington.
Guys, guess what? There's one coming out. Equalizer 4 comes out in 2025.
Holy shit.
Is he still in it?
Yes.
Kim Crawl is going to be psyched. That is somehow her favorite movie franchise.
Why have I never heard of it?
I only watched it because I was flying and Kim had been talking about it so much. So I was like, all right, yeah, these movies must be pretty good. They're fine. They definitely decline in quality as the franchise goes on. The third one is
So glad a fourth one's happening.
yeah.
The campaign starts here. Denzel Washington, Best Actor Oscar for the Equalizer 4.
Equalizer 4.
Nominate him now.
Let's get it done. We've got a while until the next Oscars.
We got to finally give him one for a movie where he deserved it.
About fucking time.
Deserved is a weird word. Denzel Washington absolutely deserves a fucking Oscar for Best Actor. It's not that. It's just
For a different film, right?
yeah. He's not alone. He's not the only actor who got screwed over, I would argue. Especially, do I have it in the notes? Who was he up against? Maybe it's not him, but there's one of these where the people they were up against for Best Actor.
Al Pacino for Scent of a Woman.
Yeah. And Al Pacino for Scent of a Woman is another one where people are like, did you not see Dog Day Afternoon? He's pretty good in that.
Well, honestly, when I saw that in the notes, I nodded so hard, like my eyes nearly came out of my head. He's so good in Dog Day Afternoon. So good. Unbelievable performance. They wouldn't make a film like that these days. Not in Trump's America. I'd say that for nothing.
Yeah.
I looked at the notes last night and I was like, I do not have time to watch 4 Denzel Washington movies right now.
I watched the entire Equalizer franchise just for this.
I suck.
Yeah, I watched the Queen Latifah TV series version too. And-
I'm an idiot. I'm so
and I mean
sorry.
the original also. Like it, the Equalizer was like a 90s TV show, I think, or 80s, 90s, something like that.
Really?
Was
Oh,
Queen
God, I didn't even know that.
Latifah a rapper first?
Yeah.
I thought so. I just didn't want to be wrong. Did she just stop doing music because acting?
I think so. I'm sure she puts out the occasional
Like,
music.
what is a Queen Latifah song even? I don't even know a Queen Latifah song.
Her early albums, she had a single called Ladies First that was a pretty big deal in rap music at the time. She was like a conscious rapper at the time, and it has Moni Love on it. That was like her big hit early on. She has a song called Unity that was a pretty big hit later on, like in the 90s when everyone was trying to sound like Naughty by Nature. Everyone's getting all these references, right?
Oh, for sure.
Her real name is Dana.
Yeah, Dana Owens.
Dana Elaine Owens.
I have a weird plethora of knowledge about Queen Latifah.
I noticed.
She wears a gold motorcycle key around her neck because her brother was killed in a motorcycle accident.
Whoa, you do know a lot about her.
Have you considered making a documentary about Queen Latifah? I think she's ultimately gettable as a guest. Like,
Queen Latifah?
Could be.
I think so.
What has she been doing lately?
She's in the Equalizer TV show. She is gettable.
I bet I couldn't get the co-star from the Equalizer TV show, probably.
Well, let's find out who that is and get them on the podcast.
Queen Latifah news.
Like, you really think you're going to look me in the eyes and tell me you couldn't get Tori Kittles on the on the podcast?
Okay, maybe.
I guess she was at the Grammys.
Really?
I just Googled her. For this and then hit news, and she's in some fucking headline about the Grammys.
Queen Latifah's a pretty big star.
Oh, she inducted Missy Elliott into the Songwriter Hall of Fame.
Well, there you go.
I say it feels again. Maybe it's just.
I simply do not know. Like, I think that I just don't see her anywhere.
My excuse is that I live on an island far away from where all this is happening. So Queen Latifah never really had much cut through here, really.
So yeah, Denzel Washington. Do we have any final thoughts on that one?
I feel he looked really good in Gladiator too.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard such good things.
It's fun. It's no Gladiator 1, but it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I did like. I feel like I have Russell Crowe on the list later too.
You do.
We'll see.
And I was thinking to myself, oh, that's exciting. We can bring that back around. And then we can talk about Gladiator 1. That's exciting. It's broadcasting.
Playing 4D chess.
Goddamn right.
There should be a fucking producer or something.
Let's talk about the Beatles.
I guess.
Finally. Finally.
We've all been waiting to talk about the 4 boys we all love so much.
Group of white folks talking about the Beatles. It's high time this happened on the internet.
No one's ever talking about that.
I mean, they get a lot of attention because they're the Beatles, but
Where are you going with that?
I mean,
They get a lot of attention because they're the Beatles.
they're pretty influential. There's a reason
No, I know.
people still try to sound like them. But here's the thing. They won Album of the Year at the Grammys once, apparently. And it was for Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which I would argue is maybe the most well-known Beatles album.
Really?
And also the most overrated Beatles album to me.
I can
You
see
think it's
that.
the most well-known?
Oh, hell yeah. What one, which,
Abbey Road.
yeah, I mean, Abbey Road has the well-known album cover. That's
Yeah, that's what
For
I
sure.
think.
But Sergeant Pepper was just such a big deal because their look changed so
Right.
much.
They were like, we're on drugs now.
Yeah, we're taking acid, baby. It's like everyone is in the 60s. Calm down.
And they were all Austin Powers as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
We're taking
Yeah.
acid, baby. Groovy.
They sure, yeah, that's every British person from the 60s. That's my blanket impersonation. And yeah, they won a Grammy for Sergeant Pepper's, which it's got some songs on it.
As an album does.
It fucking, I mean, it's got good songs on it. You know what I fucking mean?
Oh, yes, I know. I'm just a wiener.
Here's the thing. It doesn't have Strawberry Fields on it, which is a fucking crime. That is criminal. That is absolutely the best song they made from that era. And they just, because it's how it worked at the time, they just released it as a single, but didn't put it on any of their actual albums. I know they had American releases, but stop. They have
Not
the
a
albums
thing.
they have. And yeah, Strawberry Fields isn't on it, which is silly. And the two albums that came before it, I think I would say most Beatles fans acknowledge that those are their two best albums and probably their most groundbreaking albums, which are Rubber Soul and Revolver.
Revolver, especially.
Yeah, people lean more toward Revolver. I'm more of a Rubber Soul guy, but they're both fucking bangers. They're both really, really strong albums. And Sgt. Pepper's is just more like theater. It's like glitzy and there's a lot of production and there's, the album cover with all the people on it. So it's the one people remember. And it was such a spectacle. So it won a Grammy. But man, Rubber Soul and Revolver are significantly better albums. I think the White Album is better than Sgt. Pepper. I think Abbey Road's better. Let It Be is kind of meh, but
I'm like just trying to figure out what like is like the most played Beatles song. What do we think?
I think Yesterday is, I believe, the most covered song of all time. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Yesterday, which
I could buy that.
Sources from internet are trying to say A Day in the Life, and I'm like, bitch, no, absolutely the fuck not.
I mean, A Day in the Life is a pretty beloved Beatles song also, but yeah, I would say it would have to be either like Yesterday or like Hey Jude, some bullshit like that.
I think it's got to be Hey Jude or like Let It Be.
Yeah.
Let It Be is a good shout. Well, it's not going to be Octopus's Garden, is it?
Let It Be, they always fucking play Let It Be at like any time anything is tragic.
Yeah, that song drives me nuts a little bit. There's
Any gigs in the UK, whenever there's a sing-along going on, it won't be long until the Hey Jude stuff starts happening.
I hate that song so much.
It's just natural. Like we are a proud nation of chanters over here. And anything that's got a vague chant rhythm to it will hop on that like a fly on shit.
Yeah, I can't do it. There's a version of the Let It Be album called Let It Be Naked, I believe.
Oh, heavens.
Pervs.
One of the problems with the Let It Be album is they finished it and then John Lennon had Phil Spector come in and put all this like orchestral stuff over it. And it's like kind of corny. And Paul McCartney eventually, or the Beatles, like whatever that entails now, there's only the two left. They put out a version of Let It Be that took all that Phil Spector stuff off, and it's really fucking good. It's way, way, way better.
I found it. It's 2003, and it was spearheaded by Paul McCartney. So yeah, you were spot on. I've not heard this. I'm gonna have to give this a listen. I
I
think.
haven't either. Hit me with the link.
It is a significant improvement. And the original version of Let It Be does not have Don't Let Me Down on it, which is one of John Lennon's absolute best Beatles songs.
I love that song. And I also love Why Don't We Do It in the Road? And I think that's a cover. Is that a cover that they didn't? I don't think they wrote that. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I love the White Album. My favorite Beatles song might be Rocky Raccoon or Bungalow Bill. Both of those songs. And I think is Don't Pass Me By on the White Album. I fucking love Don't Pass Me By.
I forget where things land on all the albums sometimes.
I think all three of
Oh,
those
same. It's so gobbledygook.
are on the White Album. Yeah, I
I'm
had
wrong. It's an
a
original.
period in my life where I was just obsessed with the fucking Beatles. I read the fucking anthology book, like all of it, that giant goddamn
Me too. Me too. Me
coffee
too.
table book.
My dad just like had it. And so I just
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah, so yeah, I know a lot about I like the Beatles. We can stop for a while.
Yeah, no, there was like a couple years ago where I just would not stop making memes about that. All I wanted was people to stop making stuff about the Beatles.
And am I wrong or did they just win a Grammy?
Why? Why would they?
Because they put out a new song. They had like
They're half dead.
they had like John Lennon like on tape singing to himself or some shit, and they like built.
Oh yeah, was this the one where they bumped it up with like some kind of AI or other,
Is
but
it
made
AI?
it
That
like
would
clear?
surprise me. Yeah, I didn't even listen
Arguably,
to
the
it.
better half is dead.
You don't mean John Lennon, right?
They won Best Rock Performance at the Grammys for Now and Then. It was called.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Performance
They were
Yeah.
nominated for Record of the Year,
100 years ago.
narrowly beaten out by Beyonce.
Oof. It is. Oh, did Beyonce win Record of the Year?
Maybe I think so. Oh, no, I'm gonna have
In
to
the
check
60s?
now.
I thought Kendrick Lamar won, which that's really satisfying if Kendrick Lamar beat the Beatles for Record of the Year.
Maybe he did. I need to check this now because otherwise I'm going to drive myself insane.
The Beatles being nominated for Album of the Year is so fucking funny if that's true.
That's silly. I didn't even listen to the song because it's like, I know what it's going to sound like. It'll sound like a latter day Beatles song.
Yeah, no, yeah. Record of the Year was Kendrick Lamar. So yeah, Kendrick Lamar beat the Beatles to the Grammy.
What's the difference between record and album?
I've got no fucking idea.
Well, my question is, what's the difference between record and song?
Actually, looking at it, yeah, okay. So there's Album of the Year, which is just albums. There's Record of the Year, which is a song, and also Song of the Year.
Then what the fuck is a record?
For the record, Kendrick Lamar won both Record of the Year and Song of the Year.
I am so confused.
What the fuck is happening at this award show?
What is the difference? Because I had assumed that record meant album because of like a record, but that's not what that means. And I should feel dumb for that.
And I feel like some years people like different people win each one, which reminds me of like, I hate to even fucking say his name now that he like came out as an actual Nazi, but Kanye West didn't not have a point.
He came out as an actual Nazi?
He tweeted, "I'm a Nazi."
When did that happen?
It was like today.
Oh, fuck.
At time of recording, fact fans.
Yeah. But he kind of had a point in that how do you give Beyonce Artist of the Year, but you don't give her Female Artist of the Year? How does that work? How are those separable at all? That makes no
This
sense.
whole shit is so dumb.
As far as I can tell, Record of the Year recognizes the artist and the Song of the Year recognizes the songwriter, and often they are the same person.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Fine.
makes sense.
I still had to like look into it, so it's clearly not well defined, right?
Also, really, Album of the Year should have gone to Brat. And I don't even like that album that much, but Brat was like monumental for 2024.
Yeah, it was. I didn't even listen to that album, but I can like picture the cover. I can see all the billboards. Like it was such a thing.
He had a manifesto for how that whole thing was going to go. Like Brat should have won.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's the thing. She'll win a fucking Grammy like 15 years from now for some bullshit album no one likes. And we'll be like, she should have got it for Brat.
Like it should have been Brat. Like it's actually very insulting that she did not win Album of the Year. Beyonce should have been surprised. Did you guys see the memes of her being surprised?
Yes. That is going to be an eternal gift, that one.
That's a good one. Because like she also was like, really?
All right. Let's talk about another movie one. Unless, do we have any final thoughts?
On the Beatles?
Have we said enough about the Beatles? I don't know.
There's been everything that can be said has been
I'm
said. about
just
the
sat
Beatles.
here that I now live in a world where Kendrick Lamar beat the Beatles to a Grammy. Like that's
That is great.
Hang it up.
like that's a sentence that you can say that is real.
It's a real thing. It's great.
Fuck it out.
All right. Let's talk about a movie one. Robin Williams won an Oscar for Good Will Hunting. Sure. I barely remember that movie. I know people fucking loved it.
They're standing on desks, and that's all that I need.
Was that Goodwill? Yeah, that was Good Will Hunting. Or was that Dead Poets Society?
Oh shit. To me, same movie. Standing on desks.
I somehow remember Dead Poets Society way better.
You're right.
I saw
What the fuck is Good Will Hunting?
Good Morning Vietnam in theaters. It would have been nice if Robin Williams won an Oscar for a comedy.
All of these, the ones that you've mentioned so far, they came out before Good Will Hunting, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So yeah, no excuse then.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of, I think what might have done him in that regard is he had this streak in like I think just the 90s, might have been late 80s, early 90s, where he puts out those 4 movies like in a row. So he just all of a sudden went from the fucking Mork and Mindy guy to like, remember that happened with Matthew McConaughey at one point where he was like, because he like has been public about it, where he was like, yeah, I did some bullshit movies because I fucking needed money. And then at one point, it's like, oh, Matthew McConaughey is getting Oscar buzz now. When did that happen? Like, and Robin Williams, it was kind of the same thing where he was like, you know, he was there, he was doing shit. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, fuck, he's a good actor. John C. Reilly was like that too. Remember John C. Reilly? He did it in reverse though. He was like esteemed thespian. And then he meets Will Ferrell and it's just like Step Brothers from then on.
I see him all the time in real life.
John C. Reilly?
Yeah, he is on the board at the theater that I perform at a lot. He is just around looking fancy all the time.
He is in a show that I know people won't immediately gravitate to because it seems like it's sports related, and it is, but it's called Showtime. It's on HBO. Interesting.
Confusing.
And it's about the 1980s Lakers. And John C. Reilly plays Jerry Buss, who was the owner of the Lakers at the time. He is great in it. It is the role that broke up his friendship with Will Ferrell because Will Ferrell wanted to play Jerry Buss and Adam McKay gave the role to Will Ferrell's best friend. Now they're not friends anymore.
I heard they're back.
Oh, are they? I hope so.
Yeah, I heard they're hanging out again.
That seems like a sad thing to lose a friend over.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, you're doing fine, Will Ferrell. Like,
Yeah, he's got some roles.
You're bringing your Eurovision musical to Broadway, question mark?
I'm pretty sure it was actually flipped, though. I think that John is who got mad.
Oh,
I could
why?
be wrong.
Why would he have gotten mad?
Because he didn't get cast.
No, John C. Reilly played Jerry Buss in that show.
Or something. I don't remember. Never mind. I don't know.
What's happening?
While we're on that subject, why is Will Ferrell bringing the Eurovision thing to Broadway, to a place where largely people do not care about Eurovision?
Yeah, and it was fine. It wasn't like he's made better stuff. I mean, Eurovision.
I just feel that was a perfect opportunity to come to the bloody West End of London town, the glittering lights of Soho. You know what I mean?
True. Will Ferrell also has shown up at the theater like randomly. He did an improvised set as Phil Werrell a night that I was there, and I was like, what is happening?
I like Will Ferrell. I like Will Ferrell a whole lot.
Yeah.
He seems like a nice dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does. I met Jack Black once and he was so fucking nice. And that was such a relief because I like him so much.
Yeah, they're nice boys.
You know what else Robin Williams should have won an Oscar for? 1 Hour Photo.
I'm scared to watch that movie. It looks so scary.
I'd not even heard of this
What?
prior to reading the list. I don't know. It's just not come across my vision.
I think it did win awards though, right? I think so.
It is Robin Williams at his fucking darkest and creepiest.
Hell yeah. I'll have to get across this then.
Yeah, I'm surprised you've never heard of it.
Honestly,
It was a really fucking good movie. I might rewatch it this weekend.
I'm scared of it.
Yeah, it's intense. It's very, he plays a guy who develops people's photos at one of those 1 hour photo places and just like gets obsessed with this family because of their photos and hijinks ensue.
Yeah, no, that
love
sounds so
hijinks.
scary.
He's such a funny guy. I love hijinks.
Also,
When can I watch this?
what about Death to Smoochie? Couldn't he have won an Oscar for Death to Smoochie? Remember that movie?
Yeah, that was creepy also, right?
It was very creepy. Yeah. Yeah. Robin Williams did hit that. He hit a point there where he was like unsettling on camera, which honestly I prefer to his like talk show persona where he just clearly would do a mountain of cocaine and come out and derail every interview he did.
I watched one of those not that long ago and it was actually impossible to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Robin Williams to me at one point did become just like his personality was just fucking grating to me. Oof.
I mean, it was just cocaine, like straight up so obviously.
Yeah. It seemed like it. It sure seemed like it.
Folks at home, if you want to catch 1 hour photo, it is on Disney Plus.
It's good. I highly recommend it.
I think I'm going to look into that because, yeah, I mean, I've literally never heard of it, and it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it's a good movie. All right. This one, it would be controversial if people cared about this guy the way they used to, but I think Michael Jackson should not have won a Grammy for Thriller, or not like album of the year. I think Off the Wall is Michael Jackson's best album. It was his first like adult album, which it would have been nice if they like recognized that. And it's just all around a better album. Thriller has, there's only, I think, one song on Thriller that wasn't released as a single. And that's kind of the thing. Like Thriller, it was just everywhere. Everyone's heard it so much. But go fucking listen to Off the Wall.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you on this one.
Mm,
Thriller, you've got Billie Jean and Beat It On, and The Girl Is Mine.
yeah, but
And on Off the Wall, you really only got Rock With You,
you
Don't
got
Stop Till You Get Enough.
I Can't Help It. I think I Can't Help It is my favorite Michael Jackson song, and that might be.
But I wouldn't say that's a hit. I'd say that's a deep pull.
That's the thing. I mean, he had hits on Off the Wall, but it's just a more cohesive album. Like it has like a distinctive sound to it, whereas Thriller is just a bunch of singles.
I think I sort of landed somewhere in between the both of you, in the sense that off the Wall, I think in terms of like a traditional album, like something that you'd plonk on and sit all the way through, it's definitely, better in that sense. But if you ask me which one I'm going to put on to listen to, it's probably Thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. For me, it's Off the Wall. It always has been. Here's the thing: I haven't listened to a Michael Jackson album in a long time, guys.
I don't know if I've ever put on a Michael Jackson album and been like, yes, an album.
Yeah, I mean, when I was
He's
a
really
kid,
more of a single artist, I feel.
when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Thriller because I'm old enough to see MTV the first day it launched. I remember, like, I saw the first video on MTV.
That's crazy.
And so Michael Jackson, that was right in my wheelhouse. Like I went all in for Thriller and shit, but I also loved Prince equally at the time because I was a cool kid.
I remember being so fucking terrified of the Thriller music video. And like I was young and they would really only play it anymore on MTV like during Halloween and stuff. And I remember being so scared of it that I would turn it off.
Yeah, I don't remember being scared of it just because I loved Michael Jackson so much as a kid. I also remember watching the world premiere and then they just went into another video, which I believe was Hold Me by Fleetwood Mac. And
Wow.
I was just like, oh, what Michael Jackson song is this? And my sister was like, it's Fleetwood Mac. And she was so mad. Fucking calm down, lady. But
So mad at you.
so yeah, I don't know. I guess this one's controversial, but yeah, I think Off the Wall was a better album. I also think his albums, just in general, I feel like Off the Wall was the top of the roller coaster, and I'll say, Thriller was also top. There's like a low level part at the top of the roller coaster, and then
Bad has some good fucking tracks.
oh, Bad's got some bangers, and I would argue Smooth Criminal might be his best song. It's not my favorite.
God,
Michael
such a
Jackson.
good song.
It's a fucking banger.
Yeah, Smooth
And
Criminal.
also, as soon as you hear the beginning, you're like, yes.
Yep. Yeah. I've never been mad when Smooth Criminal comes on. It's like,
It's
No!
impossible. You can't be cross when that's on.
That fucking, that intro is so baller.
now that you mention it, I think I might like Bad better than Thriller.
That is better. Man in the
Right,
Mirror is
scrap
on there.
everything we just said and then roll back to the beginning of this section and we'll just say that you said Bad initially.
You've got The Way You Make Me Feel.
Yes.
You've got Man in the Mirror. You've got Dirty Diana. Like that's that's a good album.
Yeah, Bad might be. I think I probably do prefer Bad. I think the worst song on Bad is Bad. That's
Yeah. That song does kind of suck.
yeah.
Back in high school, I was obviously a part of the musical theatre brigade. Of course, I was
course.
an
The
MT
fact
boy.
that it's a brigade is so British. Keep going.
Um, there was a musical. It's not very well known, but it was an actual thing. It was called Back to the 80s. It was essentially like a jukebox musical with, all songs from the 80s and everything like that. I was cast as a teacher who had two songs to do, which was Get Into My Car, of course, obviously. Nice big romantic number. And Man in the Mirror. And I remember saying at the time, I was like, you hear how deep my voice is, right? I'm obviously not going to be able to get up there. Brenda, so they're like, just give it a go. All right, fine.
How'd it go?
It's not particularly well remembered, and there's no documented evidence of it. But I made it through.
Yeah. Man in the Mirror is a good song.
It's a great song. It's just not great when you're a natural baritone, darling.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Adam, trivia contest for you.
Okay, let's do it.
Obviously, you know what the first video was when MTV started. Everyone at home knows that. What was the second video?
Oh, I feel like I used to know this. I don't know. Mexican Radio by Wall of Voodoo.
Ah, you were so close. It was You Better Run by Pat Benatar.
Ah, yeah, I was very close. Very, very close.
I'm looking at the lineup now, and then it was Rod Stewart.
Here's the thing, Rod Stewart, he was one of the early adopters when it came to MTV. So there was a point where it felt like 60% of what MTV played was just Rod Stewart sitting in a chair singing to some broad while he's holding a glass of champagne. Like that would just be it. He would just be like, get me in a room with a woman. Let's make magic.
Oh, to be abroad sitting opposite Rod Stewart in the 80s.
Right? There is a moment, or not just a moment, but he does it repeatedly. This was me and my cousin Jason did this for like a solid 2 or 3 school years after seeing it. But in the video for The Way You Make Me Feel, Michael Jackson does this thing where he keeps walking up to the woman he's singing to. Because if people haven't seen it, that's just the video is just him like singing to a woman in the street and they're like walking around. But he keeps doing this thing where he like does a silhouette with his hands and then like fucks it. And he just keeps doing it. And me and my cousin would just do that at school for like years. Like that's
funny.
how we would greet each other. Just the fucking silhouette. So fun. So fun.
The old hourglass and thrust.
Yeah. That's
And they say that music videos corrupt the youth.
yeah. I was like, oh shit, a Michael Jackson dance I can do.
I can't do that one where he
Nice.
fucking leans forward, but I tell you what, I can make an hourglass shape and then fuck it.
Yeah, he actually designed, I believe it was him who designed the shoes that allowed him to do that.
I just saw somebody doing a tutorial of those shoes with that.
Yeah.
It's like a peg thing, isn't it? Like it's sort of like a peg in the heel, and then
You like lock into something and then you can like fall forward essentially.
It's somewhere in Vegas. They have a thing set up where it's those shoes and you can like take a picture leaning forward like that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I went to Paisley Park once and saw I don't know if they still have it, but at the time they had a display that was just Prince's shoe collection. And going
Oh,
in,
wow.
I was like, oh, that seems kind of lame. I don't know if I want to see that. It was one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen. Fucking fantastic. I'm
Dude
so
could dress.
happy I saw that. It was great. All right, another movie one. Here's the thing. I don't know what she should have won for, but Sandra Bullock, fuck The Blind Side. That movie was trash. The story isn't real. I mean, it's kind of real, but like the facts aren't real. The kid is suing the family now. He's like in his 40s now, I think. And I don't know. I feel like this was another, well, we got to give her an Oscar for something. So I guess The Blind Side. And it was a feel-good story at the time.
it's often the way, isn't it, with feel-good stories? Like as I was going through the list, I was remembering there's a film critic over here called Mark Kermode, who made a quite an astute observation that in 1989 the Best Movie Oscar was won by Driving Miss Daisy, and his contention that it wasn't even the best Morgan Freeman film to have come out that year.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
They so consistently get this wrong. But again, it's that whole thing that we were talking about with, we best give it to them because they deserve it. And who knows, they could drop off the face of the earth in the next 5 years.
I think Lean on Me still might be Morgan Freeman's best movie, or Shawshank Redemption, obviously, is up there.
So with The Blind Side, I never saw this movie, and also I don't think it's a movie I would ever see. But it's like they're trying to say that she like saved this football player who was mentally ill, and like the actual guy's story was not that he was mentally ill. It was like that he just like had a like rough time growing up.
I've only seen it once back when it came out. I don't remember the mentally ill part, but it's a movie about them taking this kid in and like making him part of their family. And he also is very good at football and ends up getting, drafted into the NFL. And I haven't super duper looked into the lawsuit. I just know Michael Oher, who was the guy who went on to play in the NFL, has since sued them. But it also seems like they're still friendly. I don't know. I just know that family, the husband and wife are on a basketball card I really want. I love sports cards that have like weird shit in the background. Like there's a Mark Jackson 1990 NBA hoops card that has the Menendez brothers sitting courtside, which is great.
Mhm.
There's a Ja Morant rookie card where not only is there a dead rapper in the background, there's another rapper who fortunately is not dead. People noticed that part first, and then like a couple years later, someone was like, oh yeah, and then there's the family from The Blind Side right next to him. So that whole fucking lineup of people is just in the background of this card, and I want one.
I love that kind of stuff when
Yeah.
like just a random photo, everyone in it is like famous in some degree.
That's so specific. Oh, it's just like basically saying that he felt very like misrepresented by that family and by the movie. Like, so like when he joined the NFL, like they weren't sure if he would know how to read because the family like made him seem fucking dumb.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's the one filing the lawsuit. I don't doubt it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, Sandra Bullock. I don't know. The Proposal. I fucking love The Proposal.
Nope, Miss Congeniality.
Oh, yeah. Miss Congeniality.
You're
That's a good
welcome.
shout.
I would actually buy that. I would be fine
Yeah,
with
that was a
Miss
great
Congeniality.
movie. But because it's a rom-com, no award for you.
Yeah, that's golden age of rom-coms right there.
Yeah.
There was that like late 90s into the 2000s where there are so many fucking.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Miss Congeniality.
I like
Can't even think of any other ones.
Confessions of a
that I can-
Shopaholic a whole lot.
Okay, that one's good too. I rewatched When Harry Met Sally the other like week or whatever. The Blueprint. Nothing can compare. It's so much better than all the other rom-coms ever.
Yeah, I'm not mad at a rom-com at all. I used to watch the shit out of them when they like
Yeah,
during
no,
that
it's very
era
comforting.
when they were like really popping off in theaters. Fucking 28 Dresses. Come on.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. But also she was nominated for Gravity. She could have won for Gravity.
She was great in Gravity.
Yeah.
Like she was being asked to do a lot because like that,
Different than Interstellar.
yeah, they don't really go anywhere in Gravity. That's sort of the problem. They're just sort of stuck.
Yeah.
But like there's so much of that film which is just like her face, like just super close, like Cillian Murphy and Oppenheimer style.
Why in my mind is she in Interstellar? What?
Is she in Interstellar?
No, she's in Gravity, and in my mind, those are the same movie.
Who was in Interstellar? Was that Matthew McConaughey?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That was a good fucking movie too.
Yeah.
All right.
Has he won an Oscar
I feel like he will. He was nominated for Dallas Buyers
for
Club.
something that he shouldn't get it for? Probably.
Nah, he was pretty fucking good in Dallas
Oh
Buyers.
no, he got Best Winning Actor in 2014. What?
What did he win for?
Dallas Buyers Club? What's that?
That's what I just said. Dallas Buyers Club. He plays a guy who basically smuggles AIDS drugs into the country during the AIDS crisis to try and get them to people who are dying of AIDS. It's kind of a controversial movie because Jared Leto's character is, he's Jared Leto's like straight white male, and his character very much is not in that. But beyond that, Dallas Buyers Club, I get it. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey was fucking great in that.
I think my McConaughey/Bacon number must be 2. I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm very close to Matthew McConaughey.
I mean, you were in a Magic Mike movie.
Yeah, so like you just need Channing Tatum. That's the one jump.
Yeah.
Channing, call me Chan Tatum.
Call me Chad.
What a firm handshake on that man, and what a chiseled ab.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Fucking
I
love the
didn't know
Magic
that
Mike movie.
that was part of your lore, Ethan.
Oh, my lore is bizarre.
So, all right, let's talk about one no one's going to give a shit about.
Hell yeah.
While I was researching this, I found that Nas won a Rap Album of the Year Grammy for an album called The King's Disease, which is fine. It's a fine album. I remember listening to it a couple times. By the way, The King's Disease, gout, because you get it from eating good and drinking good. That's what they call gout, the King's Disease. But
Damn.
I looked into it. Nas's best album is his first album. It's called Illmatic. It is one of the classic rap albums of all time, but it came out prior to when the Grammys were doing a best rap album Grammy, which it's crazy that it took that long, but it wasn't until 1996 that they started doing rap album of the year. They did rap performance of the year since sometime in the 80s.
Oh, here we go again. Rap performance, rap record, rap song.
Yeah.
Dumb. Rap idea.
Rap concept.
I remember when they introduced the first rap Grammy, because I remember Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff won. And there was an interview where Salt from Salt and Pepper was like, that probably shouldn't have been the thing. Like, there were more deserving people who should have got that. But that's the only reason I remember when it first started. But 1996, first rap album of the year Grammy went to Poverty's Paradise by Naughty by Nature. Sure.
Okay. And they're still touring today. I don't know if they are.
They probably,
With the Beatles.
yeah, they are the Beatles.
With what's
by
left
rap.
of the Beatles.
Yeah, they're on tour with the Beatles.
Yeah, there's only 3 of them, which reminds me of a debate I have in my head. I just need to get someone from Run DMC in the room to clarify. But they have a song called King of Rock, or is it Rock Box? I think it's King of Rock where they say it. But either way, they have a line where they say, I put this in a Cracked article too. They have a line where they say, there's 3 of us, but we're not the Beatles. But John Lennon was dead by then, and he had like just died. So
Oh.
is that a really fun joke at the expense of John Lennon having just been killed? Or did they just think there were only 3 people in the Beatles?
Look, I believe in this podcast. I believe in this podcast network. If Queen Latifah is gettable, then one member of Run DMC is also gettable.
Well, there's at least one who's not gettable. And that would be
Well,
Jam Master Jay. He got murdered.
there's more though. There's still time. I believe
He
in this
did win a Grammy for the best murder of the year, though.
best murder record of the year.
So Nas could not have won a Grammy for Illmatic in 1994. But in 2001, he released what I would call the spiritual follow-up to Illmatic. It wasn't like the next album after Illmatic, but years later, he released a follow-up called Stillmatic. And that is maybe his second or third best album ever. It was a huge comeback for him. It's got a bunch of like kind of timeless Nas songs, like Got Yourself a Gun, fucking Made You Look, One Mic. It's the album where he was like beefing with Jay-Z and won, basically. Like, I'm glad Nas won a Grammy for album of the year at some point, or rap album of the year at some point. Stillmatic would have been better choice. Such a good album. People should go listen to it. There's a song called Destroy and Rebuild. Woof, banger. Fucking.
If nothing else, I'm going to be walking away from this podcast with a filled up media to consume list.
Sure. If nothing, yeah, take that away from this. Go listen to everything we've mentioned. Watch everything, every movie.
At the same time.
Yeah, do it all on double speed.
And you'll win a Nobel Peace Prize
From us.
from us.
We will give you that.
And
nom.
Record of the Year.
Nom, nom, nom.
Nobel Song of the Year.
What other, like, I want to, I was trying to think of awards that, like, were stuff that, like, would not apply to this. Like, I was trying to think of, like, what Olympian shouldn't have won for that. But I got nothing past that.
There's got to be some. I don't know. I have Philip Seymour Hoffman on the list. He won for Capote. I mean, I guess you could go either way. He was good in Capote, but did nobody see Doubt? You don't want to give him an Oscar for Doubt?
I don't even know that.
Oh, Doubt. I mean, it's an appropriate title for the name of that movie. It's Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman just acting the fuck out of that movie. Meryl
The
Streep.
king and queen of acting, respectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have seen Meryl Streep winning an Oscar for that fucking movie. In it, she plays a nun who suspects that Philip Seymour Hoffman is a priest who is molesting kids.
Oh
And
boy.
it's a fucking movie. I was surprised he didn't win an Oscar for that, but Capote was good. It's just,
I mean, that's that's the one thing on the list where I was sort of like, I don't know if it was wrong that he won for Capote, because it's a fucking great film.
yeah. Capote is also good. The Oscars love a biopic, it seems
Oh
like.
yeah.
Like that's what
Mhm.
Jamie Foxx won for, which I love that Jamie Foxx won fucking Best Actor. Jamie Foxx might be all around my favorite entertainer. That guy there's nothing that motherfucker can't do. He's playing pickleball right now.
Hell yeah.
Come on.
I really think getting a getting a biopic is possibly the only way I'm ever going to be able to get an Oscar.
Yeah.
And I just feel like people aren't going to go for the James Corden story. You know, it's
Pitch it.
from Gavin and Stacey to fucking late night whatever.
Carpool karaoke movie.
I could do that. I could sit in a car with a very thinly disguised pop star and that'd be all right.
So yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Fine.
He was a good actor. Here's the thing. I don't really have any feelings on Steely Dan, but
Me neither.
they won. I remember this was back when I still watched the Grammys, and this made me kind of fucking angry. Steely Dan won a Grammy in, I want to say it was like 2000. I did this thing where I put my fucking ring light like right in front of my screen, and it is ruining my life in terms of being able
You
to
just can't see.
read the notes. And I'm like using a new keyboard that is fritzing out on me right now. What's happening?
It's the
You've
2001
got
it says in the
new
notes,
tech.
2001. Okay. Yes.
which is considerably after their prime.
Yeah. Steely Dan, they won in 2001. It was their first album in like 20 years. And it was their first Grammy for Album of the Year. And I feel like they not only got it for like sentimental reasons, but there was other shit that should have maybe won instead. And by that, I mean Kid A by Radiohead. This to me, even at the time, because Kid A was nominated, and you got to be of a certain age to remember the fucking uproar over Radiohead's Kid A album. OK Computer was like their big breakthrough. I mean, the Bends also. And they were just kind of like a straightforward rock band. And Kid A, there's like almost no guitars on it. It's like an electronic album, but like that's even a weird way to describe it. And it was so fucking polarizing. And what's weird is at that point in history, it was, oh, can you believe these fucking young idiots who are disappointed in Kid A? They've never heard a band like change course. And it was like older people who were like, that's the coolest fucking album I think I've ever heard. And I feel like that would go the other way if an album like that came out today. But either way, it was such an important record for that band who their politics fucking suck now. I know that about Radiohead, but we're talking about 2001. And I'm sure their politics sucked then too. But yeah, I don't know. This felt like Steely Dan won as like a rejection of that Kid A album more than because they deserved it. I feel like people were so put off by the change in direction. They were like, nope, we're voting for something very traditional this year. Because also like Beck was nominated for Midnight Vultures, which that's my favorite Beck album, but it is not history's favorite Beck album. That's like Beck doing like a 90s, not even a 90s R&B album. It's Beck doing a Beck R&B album. It's really good though.
In the way that only Beck can.
Yeah. I liked Midnight Vultures a lot.
I think you're onto something with this idea of it being just sort of a rejection of a band like plowing their own artistic furrow. I mean, it's again that we've spoken today about like how often it is that someone gets an Oscar because they deserve it. How often has like a piece of art been overlooked in its like debut year or debut award season, and then later on people look back and go, oh right, that changed everything.
Yeah. I think one of the funniest things about the Grammys, speaking of them overlooking earlier things in an artist's career, is that thing where like Kid Rock won Best New Artist for the album that had Ba with the Ba and all that shit on it. That's like his 6th album. Kid Rock has been making albums since the early 90s.
What an overnight success, Kid Rock.
And I think it was Shelby Lynn, or I believe Bonnie Raitt won Best New Artist like a good decade and a half or so into her career. Like they do that a lot, which
it's weird.
Like you can't they're not new just because
they're new to you.
Started playing them. Like they've been around. It's almost kind of insulting to be like, oh, okay, well now you're actually an artist because you're on our radar. So
that being said, every time there's a UK awards show and I'm not on the best newcomers list, I always feel slighted. It's been
I'm fucking
13
new.
years and I'm still angry about it.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to throw me a Grammy for best new podcast, I'll take it.
Best podcast recording.
Right. Well, and best podcast. That's
Yeah.
one
Best live
episode.
But
performance.
you win
in a
one and not the
podcast.
other.
Yeah.
Best live performance in a podcast recording goes to.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me if that happens someday. Don't they give out pot or Grammys for audiobooks?
Ugh, yeah, probably.
There was an award over here. It's for like, what was it? That's going to annoy me. But it was literally like, a fairly well-respected set of awards. But one of the awards was Best Podcast Moment.
Oh, shut up.
And it went to some like politicians and journalists on a politics podcast making a goof or something. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like,
And that implies you
Also-
listened to like every podcast.
Ever.
Like, what?
and unless you have, you've got no right.
Yeah, I want to go listen to that moment. I bet it fucking sucks.
I'm going to see if I can find it and I'll link it in the chat.
Fuck, because like, yeah, even if you were to be like, yeah, best song moment, like, what is that?
I mean, I do like when there's little quirks in songs. I tell you what I love is when someone starts laughing in a song and they like fuck up, but just leave it in the song. Like,
And it's good still, yeah.
like REM has a song it's called The Sidewinder Sleeps, something like that. And at one point, Michael Stipe just starts fucking laughing while he's singing one of the lines and they just fucking leave it in. There's a Bob Dylan song. Is it Highway 61 Revisited, I think, where at the beginning, or no, it's something on Bringing It All Back Home. But in the beginning, he just like stops and like starts laughing and they leave the whole fucking thing in. I love shit like that. So
We
yeah,
love to
best
laugh.
song moment. Let's give out a Grammy for that.
We love to laugh.
I like on the song Ticket to Ride, which is one of my fave Beatles songs. Right before the chorus, I think only the second and third chorus, John Lennon lets out this little moan right before, and it just like, it breaks me. It's so good. It's so like, I love
A
those
little moan.
fucking, he goes, oh, and it's so good. It's so good. I love little shit like that in song because
Yeah.
that's like attention to detail.
That would be better as an award, actually, is like a best moment.
Yeah, it would be more interesting.
It definitely doesn't sound nice if it's in a podcast, but a best moment in a song?
Yeah, like give someone an award for the best bridge in a song. I want that.
And while we're at it, let's give out an award for Best Bridge Actual.
Yeah, and worst bridge. We got to identify them so we can keep them from falling into the
Stop
water.
having them.
Right, I found it. It took a lot of digging, but I found it. So it's the Podcast Awards, they're called. And it was awarded for Best Comedy Moment of the Year
Oh, I bet.
on a podcast.
I'm
And
scared.
it is literally just three MPs just talking. It's not that funny. It's just a thing that happened.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's not.
Well, what are we even doing? Like, we pour our hearts and our souls into all this, and it ends up getting won by Ruth Davidson. Who?
Who?
Oh, I know who
Ruth's
that
not
is.
funny. Ruth's not funny.
Ruth's not funny. Jess Phillips isn't funny. These people are not funny. This is for all my people in the UK. They know.
They know.
They better.
Yeah. I'll learn them.
They voted it. No, I don't know how that works.
Nah, neither do I.
The Podcast Academy? Law.
I like to think there's just like one guy who is having podcasts pumped into his head 24 hours a day, 7
He's
days
just
a
like
week.
completely in a coma state, but just the constant podcast.
Yeah.
And this is it. Which one was the best? He just raises like a withered thumb.
It's like an MK Ultra thing. They have him in a drug-induced coma, just playing podcasts at 5x speed.
And that's why it's called podcast, because they keep them in a pod and just pump it into the pod.
That's where the term comes from.
First podcast, immediately someone was like, get a guy in a pod and listen to
Get
all
into the
these.
pod!
That's what they mean, right? I feel like that was maybe the best podcast comedy.
Yeah, no, that was the funniest shit that's ever happened.
Yeah, there's never been anything funnier on a podcast.
Are you listening, British Podcast Awards, you cowards?
We're on to you why it's even called a podcast, you pod-having motherfuckers.
Here's the thing. Tariffs on British podcasts now. You happy?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Sorry. Wait, Who pays those? Never mind. Tariffs lifted. Tariffs lifted. Never mind.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I mean, I've got so many pods to shovel over to the United States.
Got so many tariffs. I still don't know what they are. Keep going.
We touched on it a little bit already. Russell Crowe. He won for Gladiator, and that's fine. That's fine.
Were you not entertained?
I was, but I was more entertained by A Beautiful Mind. It's just, here's the thing. Actually, this is on the fly. I take it back. Russell Crowe should have won for Cinderella Man. Cinderella Man
Ooh.
here's the problem. It fucking bombed at the theater. Like, it did not do well, but they did a marketing campaign around it where they were like, we will give you your fucking money back if you watch this movie and don't like it. Like, it is a phenomenal fucking movie. And it just, for some reason, like, didn't connect. It's a true story. He plays a guy who was like a dock worker, but also a part-time boxer. And he gets this chance to fight in this fight that he should not be in. It's just that someone, I think, like, got hurt and had to drop out. And he goes on this run and wins the heavyweight championship. And it's a true story. And it's so fucking, if you don't listen to anything else, if you don't watch anything else that we've mentioned on this podcast, go watch Cinderella Man. I will give you your money back if you don't like it. No, I won't. But
He lied.
go watch it. Really good. All right. I don't feel as passionately about A Beautiful Mind, so fuck that movie.
Okay.
Just go all in on Cinderella Man. That being said, Gladiator is a good time at the pictures.
Yeah. There's that scene where he turns around. It's like,
Wow. Iconic.
everyone knows the scene I'm talking about.
Everyone knows
I wish
it.
I could get an Oscar for turning around.
I mean, he did it so well.
I've never been given the chance to try, Adam. You just give me a shot and I can turn around like the best of them.
Give me and Jenna spin. Come on.
All right, here we go. This is going to be great for the people listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Turning around to not
Turning
face
around.
us. He's about to turn around.
Oh, shit.
It
Yeah.
was pretty powerful.
You know what? Best podcast moment, 2K25. Nominated.
A purely visual thing on an audio medium wins best podcast moment. It's so
Absolutely.
corrupt.
Recording of a turnaround.
So, yeah, it's fine. He won for Gladiator, but go watch Cinderella Man. This next one does fucking bother me. And I know we're all over U2 since they gave everyone a free
I
album.
was
that
gonna
had an
say,
iPhone.
like, everything that they do is bothersome.
Here's the thing. I felt that way about U2 for the longest time. And then the All That You Can't Leave Behind album came out. And I was like, oh shit, I'm a U2 fan. And it did make
such a
me go
scary
back.
day for you.
It was, did you say beautiful day? That's good. That was
I
good.
said scary, but that's better. Go ahead.
Oh, well, no, Beautiful Day was the first single from that album. And that's the song that made
Oh.
me a U2 fan. And I went back and listened to their earlier albums. And yeah, most of them are pretty good. But also, that was a very small window for me to where now I'm back kind of in, oh, fuck U2. I don't care what they're up to right now. But the album that got me on board, All That You Can't Leave Behind, it was a huge comeback album for them because they had been making like weird, like Europop type music that everyone fucking hated because it was bad. And this was like a huge comeback for them. They were nominated for a bunch of awards.
The song Beautiful Day makes me want to commit violent crimes. I fucking hate it.
As was the original intent. That's what they were all came together. This is purge
I'm
music.
sure. How punk rock of them.
So they won Record of the Year 2 years in a row for songs off of this album, which I don't know how that even works. They released a lot of singles, so I guess one of them got released like in the next Grammy period.
It still feels a little cheeky. Like it sort of feels like Double Indemnity, right? Like you
Yeah.
shouldn't be able to do it across 2 years.
But they were nominated for Album of the Year in 2001 for All That You Can't Leave Behind, which I maintain is U2's absolute best album. And they lost to the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou soundtrack.
What?
Which, come on.
What were they trying to prove?
I don't know. Like, I get it. Like, it's a good soundtrack. It's, kicked off the bluegrass revival in this country. Sure, I get all that. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? It's a fine movie. Give it a fucking Oscar. Give the soundtrack a fucking Oscar. U2 deserved album of the year for All That You Can't Leave Behind. But then they won for their next album, which everyone say it with me, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb.
Of course, yeah. Sorry, I was a bit slow on the uptake though. It's the Zoom
Yeah,
delay.
yeah.
It's got Vertigo on it, you know. Big U2.
Hello. I'm in a
Yeah.
place called Vertigo, yeah.
Yeah.
I know
I mean,
that one.
And it's like that album's fine, but All That You Can't Leave Behind is just stellar. It is a damn near perfect album. Like there's nothing bad on it. It's so good.
I just wonder what Bono personally thinks about like the switch up with the Grammys. I wonder which album he thinks is better.
Yeah. I also don't think the Joshua Tree, they won for the Joshua Tree too. And that's also not one of my fave U2 albums. I guess history probably disagrees with me on that, but
I would say definitely.
yeah.
Um,
You history. Tell me what U2 albums to listen to. I think you are.
I can just picture Bono sitting there in his hovel, like getting all mad about which albums got Grammys and which ones didn't.
I don't know how anyone can like the song Beautiful Day. I'm like really torn up about it. It like makes me want to like barf in a bucket and like force feed people the barf.
Oh, I fucking love that song.
Ah, Jen, you know that's not very nice to Bono.
I also met a Bono impersonator recently who was creepy as hell.
He's a Bono impersonator.
Yeah, it was not a good experience.
It's not
I mean,
like Bono's
Where's
not
the
creepy.
appeal for that? Who's close? You know, we'll get a Bono impersonator down for Marjorie's wedding. Like,
I can tell that he doesn't really get hired as anything too serious.
but does he turn up as part of a like more complete U2 outfit, or is he just turning up as Bono but not singing?
I wish I could tell you more context, but I have to wait until it comes out.
Fair enough.
Now, him, I bet we can get on the pod, right?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, him for sure.
He is not busy.
He is not. He's a veil.
I'm just picturing that now. God, this a Bono impersonator turning up. He's not bought any like stereo equipment, no music or anything like that. He just walks in.
Oh, hello there. I'm Bono Vox, and I'm here to entertain you now.
Fuck off, Bono.
It was awful. And we were all like, fuck off, Bono. There was a moment where, like, for a scene, they were like, who wants to rub Bono's shoulders? And the whole set was silent.
Who wants to
was
rub
a
Bono's
really
shoulders?
Beautiful moment. And there was so many people on set that could have said yes.
You could have said it was a beautiful day.
It was a beautiful day.
Is that a Bono thing? Does he like go around asking to have his shoulders rubbed?
No, and also I shouldn't have said that either. I've given too much away.
All right.
You know the full name of the name he made up for himself is Bono Vox.
Not to me,
Horrible.
it's not.
Yep,
It's-
nope, erase
it's-
that.
The
Yeah.
full name that he made up for himself is Bono Vox, which is Latin for good voice. What a
Ew.
prick.
It would have been way
No, I
funnier
hate
if he just
him.
went with good voice.
Hello there. I'm Good Voice from U2. Have you met my friend The Edge?
The Edge. What a stupid
Dude's name is just Paul David.
do either of you remember this was like early internet shit when internet videos first started being a thing? There was this group out there called Improv Everywhere,
Yeah.
and they would pull these fucking stunts. My favorite one is they had something like 100 people all show up to a Best Buy wearing blue polo shirts and khaki pants and just like stand around because that's what Best Buy employees wear. It's very funny. But they also like U2 was playing at Madison Square Garden and they went on a rooftop and pretended to be U2 and like played a secret show until the police came and broke it up. And then
Amazing.
it wasn't U2. It was very
That is
fun.
a lot of fun.
It was very fun. Speaking of that, though, U2's great in concert. I saw him twice around this. I saw him on the All That You Can't Leave Behind tour, and I saw him on the How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb tour. And they're fucking great live.
I bet they would put on a good show. As much as rude as I've been to them, I do feel that they would probably put on a good live show.
Yeah, I mean, it happens that way. So, like, I like the band, no doubt. I don't love them. Like, I don't like listen to their albums regularly, but I used to date a girl who was way into No Doubt, and I saw them in concert. They're one of the tightest fucking live bands I have ever seen. They're so fucking good. It was
They
crazy.
did just do that Fire Relief concert, and they still were really fucking good, even though Gwen Stefani looks like a whole different person.
I hope they tour again. I would go.
I would go. We're going.
again. I saw Tony, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, Canal, the bass player that she used to date.
Mm-hmm.
I had a show in Hollywood and my phone died and I had to go like ask to use a phone so I could call a fucking, I don't remember how it all worked out because I don't think I was fucking with Uber by then. And I was like all frantic and fucking running around. And I'm walking through this bar and I look over and Tony Canal's just sitting there. And I just like stopped and gave him a thumbs up and fucking kept going.
Freeze frame.
Yeah.
Love your work.
Yeah, I didn't want to like be a bother and I was kind of stressed, but it's like, oh, yeah, love you, dude.
Good
You're
job
great.
being in that band.
Yeah, he was great. All right, last one, Heath Ledger. He won for The Dark Knight. Here's the thing. I think Heath Ledger should have won 2 Oscars. I think The Dark Knight, sure, but he should have won for Brokeback Mountain, 100%.
Yeah, give him both. He's dead.
Yeah, but give him both. Like, I feel like, this is going to sound bad, but I feel like if he didn't die, he might not have gotten an Oscar for The Dark Knight.
Do you know, I was just gonna say that because it's like it's a superhero film. Like, obviously he's good in it, and it's Nolan, obviously, so it's it's gonna be all right. But like at that time, sort of was it 2007, 8, that sort of time? Like those sorts of films didn't win awards.
It's still
I
super
still
rare.
feel like MCU doesn't win awards and DC films sometimes do, which I think is very interesting.
Well, I was just going to say along those same lines, I feel like you still don't see a lot of Best Actor, Best Actress awards coming out of superhero movies.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Fair observation.
And yeah, I like it. It sucks to say, but I feel like if he didn't die, it would have taken a little bit longer for Heath Ledger to win that Oscar. And I feel like Brokeback Mountain has a lot to do with it. I don't know if we just weren't ready to fucking give someone an Oscar for a movie like Brokeback Mountain at that point in history or what, but that he didn't win for that is nuts. And him specifically, Jake Gyllenhaal's fine in that movie. Heath Ledger, oof, so fucking good.
We lost a great talent when we lost him.
Yeah.
It's such a shame because he could be, at this point he'd be, in his 40s, 50s maybe?
Yeah.
And like, God, he had some performances left in him.
Yeah, he was great. And that's not to take anything from his performance in The Dark Knight. I think he deserved it.
Amazing.
Like, it's a really, really good performance. It's just, I know how the Oscars tend to do when it comes to who they nominate for what.
He's certainly the best on-screen Joker. That's the end of that sentence. He's certainly the
Ever,
best on-screen Joker.
Yeah, that's hands down.
Also, a memorable performance that everyone talks about. Honestly, Brokeback Mountain, they should have had gay people playing gay people.
Yeah.
But I guess that does make it a better performance.
Yeah, and it's also like, that's applying like 2010 like thinking to movies back then. Like Fisher Stevens played an Indian dude once. Like it just,
I feel like the overall message of Brokeback though, like, was more than like anyone talked about the actual acting in it. You know what I mean? Like just like the film itself. Like I don't think about his performance as much as I think about it in The Dark Knight.
yeah. Yeah, he's good in both. But, and yeah, I feel like once he died, they were like, oh, fuck, we should have maybe given him that award for that other one. Who knows? But at least he won.
Posthumous award.
Yeah, I hate to see it.
I think that's one of 2 ways I'm going to get an Oscar. It's either James Corden biopic or if I do fine in another film and then die tragically.
James Corden's got a lot of years in him. He could do something movie worthy any day now.
Well, he hasn't yet, but give him time.
Yeah, not yet.
And maybe he'll be gay.
Is James Corden gay?
No.
He's not? I don't know. I don't know that much about him. I just heard he's a dick to like wait staff at restaurants and things, which I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
That would be my Oscar winning scene, when I'm rude to some service employees.
Yeah. You just going ham on someone at Little Dom's over your spaghetti. Love it.
Excuse me. You didn't bring me the right thing.
It's Bono, I is.
Have you heard my Bono impression? Why am I doing a bad English accent to play James Corden?
Yeah, I was like, wait.
I don't know. I don't know much. I just know that Monkey's probably going to win a fucking Oscar for the Robbie Williams biopic, right?
Oh my God.
I hate that that movie's not doing well. I want it to do well. I want it to succeed. I love
Why?
Robbie Williams. I think that's such a fucking goofy idea. Have a
It's
monkey
so
baby.
silly.
That's Robbie Williams for you.
I really feel like he was like, well, I want to play myself, and that seems egotistical. Better do a monkey.
Yeah. There's a documentary about this allegedly haunted or paranormal type location in, I think, either Nevada or Utah called the Skinwalker Ranch. And Robbie Williams just shows up in the middle of it as one of the people who's like, oh, yeah, it might be a ghost. Like, just out of the blue, fucking Robbie Williams. It's fascinating. And they also
Random.
keep talking about like some secret investor. And I'm like, is it Robbie Williams? Is that why
the
he's
pop
there?
star Robbie Williams?
Yeah. Or is he a ghost? Did Robbie Williams die? Is that why
He
he's
was
there?
dead all along.
So I think that's our episode, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes, we did it. Ethan, Jen, thank you both so much for doing the pod. What do we have to plug before we get out of here? I am only plugging, follow me on Blue Sky at Adam Todd Brown.
Wow.
.bsky.social, I think it goes. That's Todd with 1D. We all want to get off the Nazi platforms, you know, and enjoy Blue Sky until it becomes a Nazi platform. So follow us all there. Follow everyone who's on Blue Sky. Everyone. Follow everybody who's on Blue Sky.
I don't know if I started using it for real, if I just was using it to copy and paste Hoobastank lyrics into.
Sure.
So maybe I'll fix that.
I use Facebook for Hoobastank lyrics.
You got to put them somewhere.
I did try to find you on Blue Sky, I think, recently because I was tagging you in something, but I couldn't.
Oh, okay. Was I not there? Because I did try Threads for a second, so I might be getting them confused.
Oh, yeah. I tried Threads for a bit, and it's like, come on. How much of this?
Yeah, I didn't like it there either.
Yeah. Ethan, what do you got to plug?
Well, speaking of awards, the children's TV sketch show that I'm in, Horrible Histories, literally just yesterday, at the time of recording, won an award for best episode. It's the Gunpowder Plot. So if you have access to BBC iPlayer, go on and watch it. I write on Substack, Ethan Lawrence, large actor. I'm trying to keep that going, get more stuff out there. I am starting a new podcast, which has a trailer out now. You can subscribe to it on Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. It's called Shut Up and Answer the Question. It's myself and my friend Sean, where we take way too long to answer questions. We start recording new episodes next week, and they'll be coming out as and when. Ethan D. Lawrence everywhere. That's me. I cede the floor.
Very nice. Jen, what do you want to plug?
It's me. Meet Jen everywhere. There's going to be new stuff coming out in the next 2 weeks that I have a bunch of stuff planned for that I can't talk about, but just pay attention to my social media and you'll see it. I'm also back on OnlyFans because I need money and the world's collapsing. So by all means,
Sure
if
is.
you want to pay to see me naked, fucking do that.
And I think that's it. Let's get the fuck out of here. Ethan, say goodbye.
Cheerio.
Jen, say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody. We love you.
Bring a blood object to Bristol Street.